everybody, George Anthony here from Brainstorm Fitness. Today we are going to talk about show muscles versus go muscles and movement prep. So what do I mean by show muscles versus go muscles? Very often we get into the gym and we focus on working on muscles that we can see as we look in the mirror, right? The show muscles. So whether it be your abs, whether it be your chest or your biceps, we don't often put very much time or consideration into the muscles that actually drive us or create movement. And most of those are on the backside, so we can't see those. So very often they get neglected as a result. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the hamstrings, the glutes primarily, right? Those are two of the largest muscle groups in the body, and they do a lot of work to create human movement or forward propulsion or lateral propulsion, right? Or our ability to turn and twist and go up and down stairs and almost every movement that we execute on a daily basis. Now, for those of us who do spend some time working on those go muscles, a big part of what we do here at Brainstorm Fitness is movement prep. What do I mean by that? So we're talking about what you do to prepare your body to execute any exercise that you might have planned, or whether it's playing a sport, whether it's just lifting weights in the gym, or whatever the case might be. There should be some time spent on preparing your body to execute the demands that you're about to impose on it, right? So I'm going to take one common exercise that we see very, very often, and that's the deadlift. So most people are familiar with a deadlift. It is a movement that can be done with a barbell or a dumbbell. In this case, I'm going to use a Viper, right? Which is a weighted tubular device that we have here that we like to use a lot for loaded movement training, right? But a deadlift is essentially a hip hinge exercise, and there's a few different variations, but generally they look something like this. You will be bending forward at the waist, but notice I'm not forward here. My hips are actually moving back, right? And the weight, or whatever apparatus it might be, is actually going towards my feet, right? So I'm gonna step a little further here. So the hip bends with a soft bend at the knee, and then I straighten back up, right? So again, that's a hip dominant exercise. It's hip dominant because the majority of the movement is taking place around the hip joint, which is right around here. The prime mover for this move is going to be your glutes and your hamstrings. So glute minimus, medius, and maximus are going to be doing a lot of work in this movement, as well as your hamstrings being a little assister for that move. So what can we do to prepare ourselves for this movement? So what's important during a move like this? We're looking for stability through the spine and maintaining a nice long neutral spine throughout the range of motion. We're looking for a good bit of range or increased mobility in the hip joint. So we're trying to get as much hip flexion as we can as we go down into the move, right? Mind you, my knees are soft and I get a good bit of decrease in angle here around the hip. And also we're looking to be able to generate as much power as we can into hip extension. So we also want a lot of stability around the hip itself. So how can we prepare for that, right? Most people, when they are about to execute a lift, they very often do the exact same lift with minimal weight, most of the time. They don't think about the muscles that are going to inhibit that move. For instance, in this case, that would be the hip flexor. In my previous video that we posted, I showed a really good hip flexor stretch. So that's another move that I would do prior to executing a deadlift. But also, how do we get stability around the hip and activation of the spinal muscles to keep the back nice and straight? So I'm going to utilize the Viper to show you all a technique that we like to do very, very often here at Brainstorm Fitness prior to executing a lot of big lifts such as the deadlift. Here it is. So we're using the Viper for this move. Again, the nice thing about it is it has different grips. So as you can see here, we have one handle here and one handle here. So it allows me to have a neutral grip on the Viper, or I can grab it on the outside. For this exercise, I'm going to grab it on the outside here. Now, most people are familiar with a curtsy lunge. It's a very simple movement to where one leg goes behind the other and the hip shifts out to the side. Right? So we're going to be doing a curtsy lunge variation with the Viper. So from the front, it's going to look just like this. You're going to swing your leg back, bring it across the body, placing it down next to the foot, then coming right back up. Cross the body this way, coming right back up. Cross and back up. So if you notice, I'm going into hip flexion because I'm shifting my hip back, but I'm also getting internal and external rotation because of the position of my back leg. So since I'm sweeping that leg back behind me, here, we go into internal rotation of this femur, of the forward leg. So I have internal rotation taking place here, and on the way back up, I get external rotation to place my hips back in the neutral position, right? So what I'm doing is taking that femur, and even though this foot is planted, I'm manipulating my hip angle around my leg, and it's allowing me to get into what is traditionally a single plane movement or forward movement this way, and I'm actually making it multi-planar because I'm introducing rotation into it as well. So now we're recruiting a lot more stabilizers around the hip joint and a lot more muscle fibers throughout the entire glute complex and the hamstrings as well, because of the fact that we're taking it from single plane to a multi-plane movement, right? Now, also, as we're going down, we're introducing a little bit of rotation into the spine as well, because we're coming across the body this way. So that will naturally start to activate all of the erector muscles on the backside. So again, we're talking about posterior chain development and stability. So for the go muscle, right, the driving muscles. So that's one of the techniques that we like to use here at Marine Zone Fitness with some of the unique equipment, to include the Viper, right? The last one I showed you was with the Cortex. So we like doing a lot of that kind of stuff, whether you're preparing for big lifts, or you just want to get a better, more effective, more efficient, traditional style workout, or if you want to try something completely new, come check us out, subscribe, like, follow the page, and share it, and I'll see you all soon. Later.